Hi, I'm Ramon Walker, owner of Mount Diablo Lending. So happy to be here with AIME's sales rally. We're going to go through a couple of gold nuggets, going to show you a lot of what I do, or tell you about it rather. And hopefully you'll be able to take some valuable information away. So a lot of people ask me, how do I motivate the team in sales? How did I become a top originator, number one? But even the more important question is, how did I trickle that down to other individuals as they aspire to do well in this business? So one of the main things that we do with new loan officers coming in is a daily meeting. You absolutely have to do it. You have to commit your time to it as an owner if you're going to train your staff up. So every day in the morning, 8:30, before everybody gets started, Ramon is their cup of coffee, right? I get them rejuvenated. I get them aligned for the day. We talk about a bunch of different things related to sales, and then we go for it. But the important thing is, it doesn't even matter if you don't have a lot of content or a lot of subject matter to talk about, right? Just have that meeting every single day so you can keep the staff tuned up and you can plug in to their questions and what happened the day before. Can't be every other day. Can't be every week. It's got to be every day that you're checking in with your sales team to make sure that you guys are aligned. Our company culture is we have a real like winning sort of mentality. We look at it from the perspective of being a game. Every day for us is a Super Bowl, right? So, and we treat each day as that individual game, right? So if we have a bad day, it's okay. Why? Because we know that there's another game tomorrow, right? So that's the mentality that I have with the team. We don't go too high, we never go too low. And we always look forward to the opportunity that's going to present us tomorrow, or the opportunity we're going to be presented with tomorrow with a new day. So that's the whole perspective. Every day is a game. Every day we're trying to win. But we are human beings. We understand that one day, sometimes we're going to have a bad day. Some days we're going to do exceptionally well. Keep those outliers out of there. Kind of keep the mentality that every day restarts, and then I could come in and I can win. And that's really one reason that you want to have those daily meetings too. So that way you can continue to, preach and have that perspective, because that's the perspective you need in order to win every day. One of the things I love about mortgage, and actually mortgage is my first love, right? Within my career, right? Wife and kids are really my first loves, but so within my career, mortgage is my first love. Technology is my second. A lot of you know that I started off in IT, so I always try to have sort of like a technology sort of driven perspective or foundation as we compete in this business. I think that's extremely important. We completely revamped our technology in 2020. I revamped a lot of stuff in 2020. It was part of the business plan in 2019. Who would have known that rates were going to be historically low? And this was the craziest time to try to completely rebuild your business from the ground up. But that's what I decided in 19, and that's what we continue to do in 2020. Now, what does that mean? We had so many systems. It was extremely frustrating, right? So I'm working with this one, and this one's supposed to connect with that one. I'm trying to get the API over there to connect with this one, and I want to do. You guys know the struggle. We all know the struggle. To make a long story short, because it is a long story, I went down the Salesforce route. So we completely revamped everything to have a CRM that sort of does everything for us. And what we mean by that is we built our own POS, which is connected to the Salesforce. We integrated the new Mismo 1003 into our Salesforce. We put the whole quoting engine in our Salesforce. All of the contacts or leads that come into our company come through Salesforce. We deal with the whole borrower record and the operations process through Salesforce. All the reconciliation is done through Salesforce. You guys get the idea, right? There's a bunch of other client communication, Salesforce. We can pull any field, map it to an email, automate it. It's absolutely amazing. It's far above anything that I've seen out there, what we've been able to develop in like the last 6 months. What this has truly done for us is minimize the learning curve for all these new individuals that I brought into the business. So This is how it looked, right? If I'm painting a portrait of 2020 for Mount Diablo Lending, beginning of the year, we sort of like pulled back and decided to revamp the business. A lot of the people that were there before are not there anymore, right? We hire new people with zero experience in the mortgage industry. As a matter of fact, funny thing is, a lot of my people that are here now, this is their first job, right? It's their first career. It's their first career job. So they might have been like out of college. I have another kid that's out of high school, right? So I'm talking like green. Okay. And then it's basically been me and my leadership team that has been training these individuals from the ground up. So some people say, oh, wait a minute, I don't have time for that. You do have time for it if you have the proper systems. With Salesforce, what we've been able to do is break everything down into a task and role, right? Task and roles is basically this task roles reporting is what it's all about, right? So now when I have my processing, it's broken into a disclosure team, then it goes to a submission team, then the processing team and the closing team. And the Salesforce automatically kicks out what everyone is supposed to do at a certain time through the process with guided actions. So now all of a sudden, I don't have to hire somebody that has 20 years experience in processing. I can take someone that doesn't know much at all about the business, teach them to the specific task, right? And then let them run and pass the baton. It's a relay race. So it's very interesting what we've done over the last year or so. It's completely revamped our business with the way that we hire, right? And the way that we process loans. And we sort of integrated that into one seamless process. So it's been amazing. It's been interesting. It's been hard. It's definitely been hard. It's hard to teach people the business. And I wouldn't suggest doing it if you don't have the right systems. You got to have the systems. I know that like revamping your IT can be scary because a lot of people don't have that technology background like I have. And believe me, it's scary for me. Can you imagine, like at the end of 2019, when I decided to revamp my business and bring everything down, I was super scared. At home, I'll go home at night and like, what the hell am I thinking about? I'm an idiot, right? But at the end of the day, I realized that the technology is going to be the thing that frees us up. We cannot be fearful. You cannot be afraid of something that's going to enhance you. It's going to be rough at first, but you've got to do the homework. There's enough resources out there. And I'm not necessarily saying the resource is every single vendor, because every single vendor is going to want you to buy their product. What you've got to do is go out there and find the individuals that have been able to string the products together and been successful, right? So really look at individuals' operations and see what they did, what's behind their smooth operations, what technology is behind their smooth operations, right? But don't the whole fear of loss thing. We do it to consumers, right? We're like, consumer, you got to get this mortgage now because the rates are going to go up, right? And the consumer responds and they say, yeah, Ramon, you're right. Rates are going to go up. Well, I'll say the same thing to you. You've got to get involved with the technology now because you're not going to be able to compete in the future. You're not going to be able to scale, and you're going to do as much business as the market allows you. So the question I would ask myself from an IT perspective is like, do I want to do more business into the future than what I'm doing now? Or do I want to do the same amount of business that I'm doing right now? If the answer to that question is yes, you damn sure better look at your IT stack and figure out how to put those pieces in to streamline. Look at this. I mean, I literally have individuals that are 6 or 7 months on my operations team. I started out with 2 of them. I have 9 of them now, okay? They have not been with me longer than, the longest one is 7 months. They are doing all of my processing. My lead processor went out on maternity in 2022. I'm telling you, 2020 it kept coming, right? 2020 did not let up, right? So I'm sitting here with 8, 9 kids and they're closing 60 loans a month. And they only been in business for 6 or 7 months. Now, this is not because I'm amazing, right? This is not because I'm the best trainer. I'm a horrible trainer. I'm impatient. I want things done like right now. That management is not my forte, right? I'm not a trainer. I get it done, right? Sort of thing. I'm just kind of plow over things, and that does not work well in the management. But what's the intermediary that was able to really help me was the fact that I built out some of this technology beforehand, right? So now instead of just being frustrated and saying, hey, you got to do this, or didn't you remember to do that? It's all laid out for them, right? So, but we did this through the technology. So you've got to get out there, figure out, make yourself familiar with first the different parts of the system. You have your POS, your LOS, you have all these different pieces, and think about it from an integrated perspective. Don't just go out and get a POS. There are a lot of people, oh, Flowify is great. Flowify, I love Flowify. Right. But what does it have? What happens after that? Right. Oh, then I just take a 3.2 out, throw it in here, and then I'm doing this and doing that. But there's no real the IT stack is a stack. So if you're just talking about if your conversation doesn't go where you talk about this is the POS and this is the L and this is this part, this is this part, and this is this part, right? And there's not continuity and it's not fluid, then we need to take a look at your IT stack. Is what that means, right? If you're just talking about, oh, I love this part, I love the Flowify, or I love the lending pad or the Arrive, right? Or HomeBot. I love HomeBot. Those are all great companies, but you've got to figure out how that works all together, right? How do we get it strung together is the key. You've got to use these companies, right? They've given you a leg up. We did not have access to the technology that we have now. So, but then you've got to figure out what's your business model, what's your game plan, how you're going forward, how you're going to build that stack if you want to be in the game, because we're all doing it. We're all doing it now, right? We've all committed to it, right? So you got to commit to it too. Do the hard thing. Start doing a little research, and then start reaching out. You have a big base. You have a big resource. Let's use it. Our sales philosophy is to treat every consumer as though they're a family member. That's something that I always kept in my mind as I was going through my career, right? The truth of the matter is this. Mount Diablo Lending, a lot of people are not going to know that name. We're not a national brand. We all recognize this. So what are we going to do to be able to differentiate ourselves when we're selling this commodity, right? So very early on, I used to embed this into my conversations and let clients know from the outset, even if they didn't want to hear it. Hey, Ramon, I just want to do the application. Or what? Well, hold on. I want to tell you our philosophy, right? So, and it was always one that I'm going to treat you like a family member. I'm going to do the same for you that I would do for my mom or my dad or my cousin. So all of a sudden you've become part of this Mount Diablo family. And I really teach that with my staff. We have sort of like an open, bullpen sort of area. And when I'm walking around listening to people, what I'm listening for is those exact words, right? If they're on the phone, hey, we treat you like a family member. You're my cousin now, all right? You're my brother now, all right, mom, because everybody can relate to that. Everybody's a mom, a brother, a cousin, a sister. So we sort of like embed ourselves in that framework or that psychological framework for individuals, and then do a good job and take care of them through that process. And that takes care of a lot of things. That checks a lot of necessities you need to have as a broker for retention off of the list when you can think like that. So that's sort of my philosophy. Another question people have for me is like, how do I challenge my team? So I challenge both my sales team and my operations team, and I challenge them differently. I challenge my sales team to constantly increase their capacity, right? Increase. People have the mentality that they can only do so much. And when your mind thinks that you can go to a certain level, or that's the limit, or that's okay, that's what you're going to achieve, right? So in the beginning, when I get people here, it's not even about mortgage. It's about reframing their psyche, right? Reframing it to a level of abundance. You guys will notice, hold on, let me show you something really quick. You guys will notice here I keep these two guys by me, right? Some Chinese proverbs, right? We have the piggy over here. Say hi, piggy, right? And the piggy is for abundance, right? It represents abundance. The elephant represents knowledge. I keep these things close to me. I keep them close to me to remind remind myself of those two things because they're cores within me. So I try to teach my sales team about abundance. It's okay to do 2 loans a day, 2 applications a day. It's okay to do 5 applications a day. Had you ever thought in your life that you could get 7 applications in one day? And then they do it. And then, well, wait a minute. Can you do that consistently? Can we do it 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row? What is the max capacity? So when you have that sort of mindset, there's no limitations. You can always grow. Some people will grow faster than others. Some people have been here for a while and they've been able to just do consistently get 1 application per day. And that's wonderful. We cheer them on, right? Some people it takes a couple of days to get an application. But one thing that I do love about the staff from the way we think about things is that everybody has an upward trajectory. They're on their own pace, right? But everybody's pointed upwards. And that's one thing that we look for. And one thing that I demand if you work here, that you don't have to do a bunch, but you have to have the right mentality, and you have to accept the upward trajectory sort of culture that we have. So that's the sales team. Let's get over to operations. On the operations side, and it's been a fun year for me because I'm always a sales guy. I'm like, just give it to the processor, let them close it, I'll get it in. But that's completely changed. This whole year, I kind of got away from the sales side of things. I'm good at that already. I dug in on operations, and that's a behemoth. So a newfound respect for everybody in operations because it is difficult. So the problem is there's so many opportunities to fall flat on your face, to trip, for days to be extended, for somebody to forget to order something. There's just, there's so many pitfalls. And when you want to do it as a assembly line, then you have to be very efficient at each segment. Now, if you see how my hands sort of went, like each segment, right? That's 4 segments that I've been constantly doing. I've been doing this for like a year now, right? And what we think about it as a relay race, right? And a baton. So we have the disclosure people out front. They're running the front race, hand the baton off to the submission people. They get the loan submitted, approval comes out, hopefully a clean one, give it to the processor. Processor works on it, then give it to the closing team, right? And I've been really teaching my team that unless at each juncture we hand that baton off clean so that it's strong in the other individual's hand, we're going to fall. We're going to fail. We're going to lose the race. One example I always use, and I think it really hits home with them, is we have to do our job to a high level and make sure that we're not letting the next individual, or we're not setting them up for failure. So I use an example of like, if I was a delivery person and I'm delivering something, and I come to your door, ring the doorbell, and leave it on the doorstep, and walk away, you may have gotten it, you may not have gotten it. I'll never know. We don't have that sort of mentality. We don't drop a bag on the doorstep, ring the doorbell, and leave. What I tell my team when you're working with one another is you go to the door with the bag, ring the doorbell, wait for the person to answer, hand it to them. Tell them what's in the bag, right? This is what I have for you. This is what's good. This is what's bad, blah, blah, blah. Now you can go. If they don't answer the door, go around the side of the house, look in the window, figure out if they're there, but do not just drop it and hope that it makes it to the next stop. So that's sort of like the mentality. That's the goal that I sort of push for my team. All right. Why do I support AIME? That's the easiest question in the world. AIME is absolutely wonderful. As many of you know, it's also dear to my heart. I came out and spoke at the very first conference down in Irvine and in LA. We didn't know if it was going to be 10 people or 1,000, right? So it was amazing. It was the beginning of something that we had no idea would catch fire the way it did. And, it's very, very, very close to my heart. AIME is an absolutely wonderful organization because it gives all of us the ability to bring in like thoughts, process, ideas, and this like-minded thing that we're going after called the mortgage industry. We did not have an organization. So there's a lot of organizations that have been out there. A lot of good organizations that have done, individual good things here, there and here, but there has not been they never got to the level of being a movement, right? AIME got to the level of being it's movement status, right? Everybody that is within wholesale gravitates to it because of the individuals that make up the organization. That's one thing I really want people to remember. I learned this like early on from some other organizations I've been a part of. It's not the organization that makes the people, it's the people that make the organization. And AIME has so many great people, right? So many great originators, so many great owners, so many great practitioners, so many great vendors. Like everybody that's involved kind of has this mentality of sharing. Let's build one another. So it's extremely hard to create that dynamic. Hats off to everybody that's been a part of it, and continues to be a part of it. Because the thing that's amazing to me now, it seems like AIME almost has like chapters, right? And I almost feel like I was a part of chapter 1, but then as I look back at as I look at it now, there's so many more chapters. There's chapter 2, 3, there's chapter all the way up to 13 with different people coming in, and I look at the different like promotions and videos and everything that AIME does, and it's all new faces, and it's constantly new faces and new ideas. It's just, I'm extremely proud, right, to have been a part of it from the beginning. It will be something that I'm a part of for my entire career, entire life. I've made amazing friends, right? I've met people that have helped me. I've been able to help people. And I know this is really refreshing. I can go on and on, but yeah, ultimately when I think about it and I sit here, I'm like, God, this is like, it's refreshing. It's nice. Our business is hard, right? It's not an easy business. And to have an organization, to have support, to have people out there that truly care about you and not pretend or don't want to like just sort of like link on, right? Not saying any names, but you guys saw the Super Bowl commercials talking about brokers. Please. But anyway, not you guys get my drift, but this is genuine. And it's something special about an organization that could be genuine, that has the dynamic that AIME has, and it can't be replicated or duplicated. I want to leave you guys with some advice. This is like sincere, because I thought about this. I discovered this in 2019. I decided to revamp my business because I understood that although I had individual success, when I attempted to build a business or I attempted to expand, I was falling down, right? And I admit it, I was falling on my knee, scraped my knee, my elbow. I got something on my chin, right? It's rough. It's not easy to scale, right? So, you have to fall and you get up and you figure out, you dust yourself off and you figure out what you did wrong. You stay humble about it. You try to get better. That's all you can do, right? So through this process, I've sort of I think I've really hit it. I hit the nail on the head, right? Talking to some people from AIME and other people that have been successful and being a part of the organization and rising with the tide. I've been able to get, in my experience, I've been a couple, the experience that I had with advice and then my own ideas or whatnot. And I think we've really hit on something. The one thing I would encourage all of you to do, especially if you're an individual originator and or a small team originator, and you've done good over this past year, because now you're going to want to scale up. You're like, all right, I achieved a good amount. I've got to get bigger because I'm not going to be able to maintain the same amount of volume that I did in 2020 and 2021, because the refinances will be gone, rates will be up. We all know that story. So what am I going to do to maintain this level that I'm at now? Well, I'm going to have to scale. And you're absolutely right. You are going to have to scale, right? The one thing that you're going to have to do, and you better please start doing it now, you're going to have to change around your operations, okay? Go with the assembly line approach. Figure out a way to hire new people into the business. Train them on a task-based process, okay? Show them how to do little pieces. Like you do a little piece, you do a little piece, you do a little piece. String that together, and then you'll have success, and you'll be able to scale. It was extremely hard for me in the first part of 2020 to do this. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm like, what an idiot. I decided to revamp my whole business, and now it's the best time ever for mortgage, right? And I'm in here with these kids that have a total of 1 year experience together between the 6 of them, right? No, it was the best idea I could have came up with, right? Because now 6 months later, 7 months later, these kids are closing loans. They're moving loans through the operations. They're amazing. The mentality is great. It's fun, right? They're optimistic. So please, 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 right? Please take this piece of advice. Change around your operation side of the business. Hire more people and train them at the different facets of the business. You'll have to start with analyzing your IT stack. That's the first thing. So you got to figure out, you've got to put task, roles, and reporting. Think about that. Task, roles, and reporting. Put those three things together. Figure them out. I can help you. If you have questions, ask me. But put those together, then start infilling with people and start teaching them these different parts of the process. And the beautiful thing about it is, too, you'll bring people into the mortgage industry, right? We can't compete with all these other retailers that are hiring everybody up and we'll have them forever. We're not going to sit around and wait for the market to go down. So these people, when they lay them off, forget that. Start now. Start training, so that way in a year you have some kid that's absolutely amazing and crushing it for you. All right, that'll be my piece of advice. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I've definitely enjoyed. I'm looking forward to all of our continued success. Let's grow. Let's kick some ass, and let's continue to make this channel the best channel where people can get a mortgage from. All right, guys. Thanks.